In this lesson, we're going to talk about the costs of your kits and how to price them for profit. Plus, we're going to have a look at the very handy profit calculator. Let's dive in. The pricing of your kits will depend on a whole bunch of things. What type of kit you're selling, the cost of your packaging, what supplies you put inside your kits, how you are getting them to your customers, and hidden expenses such as tax and processing fees, just to name a few. It's important to remember that how you price your kits will be different to how you price your classes, your parties and events, because your costs might be higher, and there are also other costs involved such as packaging, supplies and even shipping. You want to make sure you're always making a profit. We've created a simple pricing calculator that you can download below this video to calculate the costs of your kit and determine your profit. Before we look at the calculator in detail, let's talk about some key pricing principles. Setting your price is a very important part of your kit journey, because if you price too low, you run the risk of low profit margins, too little profit, and low perceived value. And if you price too high, you run the risk of being overpriced and not selling. And that would really suck, right? When setting your price, profit margin plays a big role and can help you determine the right price for your kits. The profit margin is the percentage of income that's left over after all expenses have been deducted. It will automatically get calculated in the profit calculator, so don't stress about that. It's just important to note that you would want to keep an eye on your profit margin. You might start at a lower profit margin at the beginning, thus having a lower profit per kit initially. But once you start to scale, your margin will also go up as you will be able to start buying in bulk and negotiate your prices. If costs and expenses go down, your profit margins will go up. Our recommendation would be to never go below 30% profit margin. Your aim should be around 50 to 70% and even up to 100% profit eventually. Now let's have a look at the profit calculator. How to use this spreadsheet. The spreadsheet was created to assist you in planning the costs of your kit, so looking at all your expenses and then to determine your profit. Only update the numbers in the yellow cells below. So over here, you can click over here and you can update those numbers, but I'll get into that just now. And then if an item is not applicable to you, just leave the cell blank. You can either leave it blank or you can just type in a 0. It's up to you. All right, let's start with how much do you want to charge per kit. So let's type it in there. Let's say we're going to charge $35 for our kit for this example. Insert the price in the yellow cell only. If you're unsure, you can always do a bit of research on how much other in the industry or in your area are charging for a similar product, or in your country even. You don't want to be priced the lowest, and also you don't want to be priced the highest in the industry. So consider the industry average and do a bit of research. Think practically as well. Look at the price of your kit and think if you'd be willing to pay that price. Next up, let's look at the costs, so your expenses of putting one kit together. Consider all your costs. So let's start with your kit, your bag or the box. What does that cost you? So let's say that cost you $2. The printed items, so for example, instruction templates or stickers, so let's say that cost us $1. Packaging material, example, tissue paper. Remember to include every single expense. So, and then the costs of different items, for example, paint, your paint brushes, whatever you put inside your kit. You can go also and type it in here, should you wish. If you want to change those, the item names, you're welcome to do that. If you click, just a tip, if you click on something and you see over there that it's just typed, then it does not have a formula in it. But if you click on something like this at the bottom here and you see some strange things, then do not override it, because otherwise it's going to break this calculator. So you're welcome to change the names, for instance, over here, because it's a flat item. All right, let's look at other expenses. So for example, a processing fee. If you are selling your kits online, you're probably using a payment processor such as PayPal or Stripe. If you do, have a look at what their processing fee is. This will be a percentage that they collect per sale. Insert the percentage over here. Look at what it is and insert it over there. If you don't use a payment processor, just leave the cell blank or type in a 0. Next up, labor costs. We as one-woman business owners and entrepreneurs so often don't include the costs of our own work, but at some point this job will be hired out, and then you would want to make sure that you've captured the cost somewhere. You want to make sure that you calculate it in. If you aren't sure how much to add for labor and you want to keep things simple initially, then I would recommend that you leave the cell blank, because ultimately all the profit is going to go into your pocket, so it doesn't matter if you calculate your labor in there or not. But if you are hiring it out or you have a staff member or assistant, then be sure to add that in. Sales tax. When it comes to sales tax, you can either add it into your total cost, so take it into account from the beginning so that you get a nice round price, or you can add it onto the purchase price each month, so add it on afterwards. If you decide to include it into the cost of your kit, then you can add it into the yellow cell over here. You can check the requirements with your accountant or the small business association in your state or country. Okay, let's move on to shipping costs. You can decide whether you want to include or exclude shipping costs from your selling price. If you'll be delivering your kits in person or have your customers collect them, then you simply leave the cell blank or you type in a 0. Now that you've added in all the values, you will see your total costs per kit. All right, so it's going to cost you $12.60. And this includes all of these expenses. So your costs, all your expenses that you've typed in over here, as well as the expenses that you've typed in here at the bottom, your processing fee, sales tax, all of that. So it's going to cost you $12.60. Your profit for this kit will be $22.40 because you're charging $35 and minus your expenses, your costs of $12.60 gives you $22.40 profit per kit. And that gives you a profit margin of 64%. That's a healthy profit margin. Remember that you don't want to ever be below 30%, and your aim should be 50 to 70% profit and even up to 100% eventually. Okay, now to calculate the total profit for the month or the order, insert the number of kits below. Now it's getting fun. Okay, so say for example we sold 15 kits, then your total income will be $525. Your expenses will be $189 and your profit will be $336. So there you have it. Isn't this just great to see it like that? All right, now the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you to always have a template. So create a duplicate of this tab and then always leave this one as a clean one. And then if you accidentally break it, then you can just copy it again. Now this one over here, if you double click on it here, then you can say kit 1, so you can rename it, and then this could be your first kit. And then what I would do is I would then duplicate your template again, because that will be your clean one that you can use every single time, and then you say kit 2. And by doing this, you will be able then to holistically see and have a look at all the kits that you are creating. And say for example with kit 2 you sold 30 kits, then it's nice to flick between your kits and see, right, my profit that month was this, and then with this month, my profit was that, and it just keeps everything together. And there you have it, easy peasy. All right, don't forget to check each and every one of your kits on this model before you sell them. Because what happens is that we get excited and then you want to add more stuff to your kit and over deliver. Let me know if you're guilty of doing that. But you can very quickly then get to a point where you aren't making much money or even losing money. So use the calculator and stick to your profit target. Your to-do list for this lesson. Download the profit calculator to see how much you should charge for your kit and what your profit will be. Then let us know in the comments what you will be charging for your kits. We'd love to hear.